In the shadowed valleys of Emmerdale, where the ancient hills cradled secrets like a mother clutches her dying child, a storm of human frailty was about to unleash its fury. It was Thursday, the 28th of August 2025, a day that dawned with the deceptive calm of a predator stalking its prey. The air was thick with the earthy scent of hay and impending rain, but beneath the surface, Butler's farm pulsed with unspoken vendettas, fractured loyalties, and a boy's past that threatened to erupt like a long-dormant volcano. What began as a simple squabble over bales of hay would spiral into a labyrinth of betrayal, where families tore themselves apart, and one young soul teetered on the brink of redemption or utter destruction. Little did the villagers know, this ordinary day would unearth horrors from the shadows, ghosts of violence, hidden addictions, and shocking alliances that could shatter the fragile facade of their rural idyll, leaving behind a trail of broken hearts and irreversible consequences. Ross Barton slammed the farmhouse door behind him, his boots thudding against the worn wooden floor like the heartbeat of a man on the run from his own demons. The kitchen was dimly lit, the morning sun filtering through grimy windows, casting long shadows that danced mockingly across the cluttered table. Pete sat there, hunched over a cold cup of tea, his face a mask of brooding silence. Ross eyed him suspiciously, the air between them charged with the unspoken resentments that had festered since their childhood fights over land, women, and the Barton legacy that weighed on them like chains forged in hellfire. "You all right, mate? You've barely set out since I came in," Ross prodded, his voice rough as gravel, laced with a feigned concern that barely masked his irritation. Pete glanced up, his eyes hollow, as if he'd been staring into the abyss of his own failures. "Yeah, just hungry," he muttered, but the lie hung heavy in the air. Hunger? No, it was something deeper, a gnawing regret from the night before, when Pete had drowned his sorrows in a bottle of cheap whiskey, replaying the moment his ex had walked out, leaving him shattered like glass underfoot. A sharp knocking echoed through the house, jolting them both. It was Cain Dingle, standing on the threshold like a harbinger of doom, his leather jacket slick with morning dew, his gaze piercing as a blade. "Where's Moira?" he demanded, not bothering with pleasantries. Ross crossed his arms, defiance etched in every line of his rugged face. "She's upstairs. I can shout her for you?" Cain waved him off dismissively. No need. She'll be down in a minute. What's up? Are you moving those bales of hay?" Ross's jaw tightened, a spark of rebellion igniting in his chest. "Who's asking?" Cain stepped closer, his presence dominating the room like a dark cloud blotting out the sun. "Me. They need moving. They're blocking the gate. Can't get the tractor through. Will you sort it?" The words were an order, not a request, and Ross felt the familiar surge of anger, a fire that had burned since Cain had swooped in like a savior, only to bring chaos with his shady dealings. "I don't take orders from you. You're not my boss." Cain's lips curled into a sneer, his eyes narrowing to slits. "I think I am, though, now." The challenge hung between them, electric and dangerous. Ross scoffed, his laughter bitter as bile. "Oh, you think telling me what to do with a few bales of hay puts you in charge? You should be grateful I'm here. I saved this place." But Ross wasn't buying it. Acting like the big hero when you're the reason those wrong-uns came to the farm looking for the weed. The accusation landed like a punch, dredging up the nightmare of intruders, guns, and the acrid smell of fear that had permeated the barn months ago. Cain's face darkened, a storm brewing in his soul. Which was grown here because of who? That's a bit rich coming from someone who only came back here so he can mope about after his ex. The words cut deep, exposing Ross's vulnerability, the ex who had left him for a city life, taking a piece of his heart and leaving him to wander these hills like a ghost. Their voices rose, echoing off the walls, a cacophony of grudges that threatened to consume them both. Moira descended the stairs like a weary queen, her hair disheveled, her eyes carrying the weight of 1,000 sleepless nights. The farm was her kingdom, but lately, it felt like a prison, haunted by the trauma of her children's brushes with danger. "Right, what is going on?" she snapped, her voice sharp as a whip. Cain explained the hay bales innocently, but Ross interjected, "And I just reminded him that he's not my boss." Moira's patience snapped like a brittle twig. "Oh, for God's sake, will you just stop it, the pair of you?" She pivoted, her mind racing to the day's real crisis, a load of sheep grazing on Celia's land that needed moving before the weather turned foul. "Anyway, the bales can wait. There's a load of sheep that need moving." "Where from?" "Celia's." They've been grazing on her land. You can help too, and I need this done quickly, so can you grab Victoria? Matty's in the barn, he can help too. Mackenzie's due back today, he's rostered in. Her words were a command, born from desperation. The farm was teetering on bankruptcy, whispers of foreclosure circling like vultures. She implored them, "Look, you all just need to work together, all right? Stop your squabbling." As the men grumbled and dispersed, Moira turned to her son Kyle, pulling him into a fierce embrace that belied her inner turmoil. "Hey! Come here. Are you all right?" Kyle nodded, but his eyes held the shadows of that fateful night in the barn, when intruders had invaded their home, turning innocence into terror. Yeah, course. Moira's heart ached. She had vowed revenge on those who had harmed her boy, and today, she would confront Dylan, the boy who had been part of that nightmare. "Are you gonna talk to Dylan today?" "Now, don't you worry yourself. It's all in hand." She sent him off for a kickabout, his laughter a brief respite from the darkness, before she headed to the village, her mind plotting a confrontation that could end in blood. In the heart of the village, the shop was a haven of normalcy, its shelves stocked with the mundane necessities of rural life. Liam Kavanagh entered, his doctorly demeanor a mask for his own hidden pains, the loss of his wife, the struggle to connect with his stepson Jacob. "Ah, morning. Hey, Liam. How you doing?" The shopkeeper, Gail, smiled warmly. "Yeah, good, thanks. Good. Is that everything for you?" "Yes." Their conversation turned casual, but Liam noticed Gail's quietude. You been quiet? Just steady this morning. You're not working here all day, are you?" Gail shook her head. No. Just still lunchtime." "Why?" Liam's eyes lit up with mentorship. "Well, we've got a few patients turning up for a dementia clinic this afternoon. I just thought maybe you might like to come and shadow?" Gail's face brightened. She was studying to be a nurse, her dreams a beacon in her otherwise drab life. "Yeah. That sounds brilliant, thanks." Liam suggested she might want time off, but Gail insisted, "No, it's fine. I've got nothing planned with Sarah this afternoon, so I am free." As Liam left, Sarah Sugden entered, her pregnancy glow contrasting with the subtle fears she harbored, fears of motherhood, of Jacob's commitment, of a future uncertain as the Yorkshire weather. "Oh. Speak of the devil. Right, I'll catch you later," Sarah teased Gail. "What was all that about?" "He's just invited me to this thing at the surgery. And what's that got to do with me?" "Nothing. I just mentioned you." Sarah's eyes sparkled with mischief. "Oh, 'cause I'm all you can ever talk about?" Yeah, you could say that," she declared her afternoon off, planning to drag Gail out. "Well, you'll be chuffed to know I've got the rest of the afternoon off, so I am dragging you out. 'Cause you're always studying, I thought it'd be nice to spend some time together." "Doing what?" "Well, I wanna show you that cot that I was talking about." "What?" "Oh, don't tell me you're busy." Gail sighed, her heart torn between ambition and love. "Sorry, no, I'm not." "Sounds good, let's do it." But the decision weighed on her. She had missed opportunities before, flashbacks to her grandmother's deathbed, urging her to seize life. "You sure?" "Yeah, I'm positive. Missed out when it was just you and your gran, so. It sounds perfect." At the Woolpack, the pub's warm glow hid the undercurrents of village intrigue. Dylan wiped down the bar, his young face marked by the scars of a life on the edge, rehab, street life, and that fateful night at Butler's farm where he had been stabbed, a wound that festered in his soul. "Hey, how's it all going in there?" Yeah, great, thanks. I've, done all the cleaning. Marlon told me to ask if you need any help in here." Charles Dingle, the landlady, nodded approvingly. "Wow, you're making a good impression, I'll give you that." Dylan smiled tentatively. Thanks. I take it you're settling at Patty's okay?" Yeah. He's a really good bloke." "Yeah, he is. You must be glad of him." "I am, yeah. He's, been brilliant to me. You know, I actually feel like I'm turning my life around." But the illusion of peace shattered as Moira entered, her eyes scanning the room like a hunter. "Well, he'd be really chuffed to hear you say that. Just the person." "Jez, can I ask you a big favor? We are snowed under at the farm and we could really do with an extra pair of hands. Any chance I can pinch one of your staff to help me out?" Strong young fella like Dylan would be very useful. Dylan's stomach nodded, he sensed something off in Moira's smile, a predator's grin. I'm supposed to be helping Marlin, though. Moira persisted, well, if you've finished the cleaning, you're on top of everything, then I'm sure he won't mind. Course he won't. It'll be good experience. We all muckin' round here. We're all like family. Now you're stopping with Patty and Mandy, you should do the same. The promise of pay sealed the deal, but as they drove to the farm, Dylan felt a chill, flashbacks to that night, the barn's darkness, Kyle's terrified screams, the pitchfork piercing his flesh. Little did he know, Moira had discovered his role in the intrusion through whispered village gossip, a revelation that had ignited a maternal rage so fierce it could burn the farm to ashes. Back at Butler's, the sheep-moving crew assembled, tension simmering like a pot about to boil over. Moira directed with authority, right, me and him, we're gonna start up there first. Now, it's probably better if you two start over here, that way we can get things done a little bit quicker. Mackenzie's no-show fueled mockery. Try him again, mate. No, leave him. I've already left him 2 messages. Probably in a pub somewhere, drowning his sorrows over charity. Warnings about the broken gate added to the chaos, but Ross dismissed them. It's moving a few sheep around. It's not astrophysics. The rivalry exploded, Bardens versus Shugdens, a blood feud rooted in centuries of land disputes, amplified by personal grudges, Ross's jealousy of Kane's influence, Pete's resentment of Ross's recklessness. Yeah, and we're Shugdens. Farming's been in our blood for generations. There's no competition. Yeah? Well, we'll see about that. Alright, okay, yeah. Whoever gets back here first with the sheep wins. Game on. As they raced, sheep bleating in panic, the men pushed themselves to the limit, hearts pounding, sweat stinging their eyes. Ross imagined a horrendous twist. Losing could mean exile from the farm, a family curse he had heard in childhood tales, where losers vanished into the moors, never to return. In a secluded cottage on the outskirts, a couple buried a deer they had hit with their car the night before, the act symbolic of their own buried secrets, an affair that had torn families apart, whispers of a child conceived in sin. I actually feel much better now, knowing that deer's buried and not suffering anymore. They dreamed of buying the place, but hidden horrors lurked, the landlord's dark past, rumors of a murder in the locked room upstairs, bodies buried under the floorboards. Might be worth speaking to the agent about it. See if the owner'd be willing to sell it. Reluctance hid fear, the income was from illegal rentals to fugitives, a web that could ensnare them all. At the Woolpack, April's search for Dylan revealed the truth to Chaz and Marlin. He's gone with Moira for a bit. The revelation hit like a thunderbolt, Dylan's role in the barn intrusion. Do you think Moira knows all this? I'm not sure. They rushed to the farm, fearing a bloodbath, imagining Moira's rage turning fatal, a pitchfork plunged in vengeance. The confrontation in the barn was a scene from a nightmare. Moira cornered Dylan, her voice a hiss of pure hatred. It's not nice, is it? Feeling trapped? Scared of what's coming next? Dylan pleaded, look, please, can I just go? I don't want any trouble. But Moira's eyes gleamed with sadistic glee. Last time you terrified Kyle. You know, my boy? Do you remember? So let's just call this a taste of your own medicine, shall we? She raised the pitchfork, the metal glinting like a promise of death, as Dylan begged, revealing his own tragic backstory: abandoned by parents, forced into crime by a gang leader named Ray, who had beaten him senseless for failures. I was just following instructions. I didn't mean for it to go as far as it did. I am sorry. Moira's disbelief was a roar, but the door burst open, April's scream piercing the air. Dylan. I don't think so. Dylan, what has she done to you? Marlin and Chaz intervened, pulling Moira back from the edge. Moira, just stop it, back off. Stop. I'm just getting started. The tension was palpable, a powder keg ready to explode, with added horrendous fiction, Moira's flashback to her own childhood assault, fueling her fury to the point of near murder. The sheep race turned comedic yet dense, with sheep escaping into the moors, leading to a chase that uncovered a hidden rustlers' camp, guns drawn in a standoff that could have ended in bloodshed. We've shifted the wrong flock, haven't we? The realization led to a frantic return, bonds forged in adversity. Subplots intertwined, Sarah and Jacob's argument escalated, revealing Jacob's secret doubt about fatherhood, a flashback to his own absent father. "You should have gone to shadow at the clinic." Liam's apology later added layers, his own grief over lost love making him overprotective. The family meeting in the pub was a battlefield of words. "Attacking the lad's not gonna help, is it?" Chaz and Moira demanded Dylan's eviction, threatening to cut ties. "You need to tell him that Dylan has got to leave." Paddy's heart broke. He had seen himself in Dylan, a boy he had saved from suicide once, a secret he kept buried. Dylan's despair led to a shocking twist, April's suggestion to work for Ray again, but with a horrendous embellishment. Ray was a human trafficker, and the work involved smuggling drugs across borders, risking death or imprisonment. "I'd rather you do some work for Ray than go back to living in a hostel and end up back on drugs." Paddy and Mandy's guilt consumed them as Dylan packed, his brave facade cracking. "You promised, you said I could rely on you." April's rage at Paddy was volcanic. "You've let him down in the worst way, Paddy. Played him for a right mug." As the day ended, the farm crew toasted their success, unaware of the ripples. Moira reflected on her rage, a flashback to losing a child years ago, adding depth to her character. Dylan, in the hostel, stared at Ray's number, the choice a cliffhanger: redemption or damnation. But the story didn't end there. In the days that followed, Dylan's decision to work for Ray led to a catastrophic plot twist. He uncovered Ray's plan to target the farm again. A revenge scheme involving arson that could kill Kyle. Dylan, torn, confided in April, leading to a midnight confrontation where he betrayed Ray, but not without cost: a gunshot wound, echoing his past stabbing. Moira, learning of Dylan's heroism, faced her demons, apologizing in a tearful scene that mended fences. "I was wrong. You saved my boy." The families united against the real threat, a raid on Ray's hideout that involved police, chases through the moors, and a shocking revelation: Kane had once worked for Ray, his weed dealings a remnant of that dark past. Jacob and Sarah's relationship strengthened through crisis, their baby shopping turning into a vow renewal under the stars, but with a scare: Sarah's false labor pains, heightening the drama. Paddy and Mandy adopted Dylan officially, but not before a courtroom battle where his past crimes were aired, including a horrendous addition: he had accidentally caused a fire in his youth that killed his sibling, a secret that nearly destroyed him. The cottage couple discovered the locked room's horror: a skeleton, leading to a murder investigation that implicated the landlord in a serial killing spree, tying back to the village through a missing person case from decades ago. Through it all, Emmerdale's inhabitants grappled with forgiveness, the narrative weaving in subplots like Mackenzie's return from London with a secret child, Ross's affair with Victoria, and Maddie's struggle with identity. The climax built to a storm night, where Ray's gang attacked the farm, guns blazing, sheep stampeding in terror. Dylan, wounded but heroic, disarmed Ray, revealing a tattoo that matched one from Moira's past assault. Ray was her long-lost brother, twisted by jealousy. Resolution came with dawn: arrests, reconciliations, and a village festival where secrets were buried, but not forgotten. Dylan found peace, marrying April in a future flash forward, the farm thriving under united hands. Yet, in the shadows, a new threat loomed: an anonymous letter hinting at more intruders, ensuring the cycle of drama never truly ended.